Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. In this reading, we're talking about the divine pressure point. We have the energy of a King of Wands. The King of Wands is the only person in this reading, okay? Now, this can be man or woman, but this is somebody who is strong and confident. They thrive in their own creativity. They can come up with idea after idea, right? They're good with their words, friendly, motivational. This is somebody that you want to follow. When you think about fire, sometimes if you're looking at fire, it's like you just can't look away. It dances, it's captivating, the heat, the sound, the feeling of it, right? It takes over you. This is the energy of the King of Wands. Now, you can take all of those good qualities, but you can flip them. This is a person that likes challenges, but they also aren't afraid to take risk. And sometimes we can become addicted to risk, right? So this could be a person that is impulsive or rash, impatient, selfish, controlling. They can struggle with their ego or arrogance. So this is a person that was led by false teachers. This King of Wands felt boxed in their own life. Life at some point, it felt small. It felt oppressive, restrictive. This King of Wands felt different, but they also felt like the differences that they had, they couldn't find them in the world, meaning there was no place or space for them to put their differences. And most times like that, you were going to search and chase for something exclusive, right? Something private, something where not everybody can be a part of, because you recognize that something in you is unlike the rest. And so a King of Wands that was led by false teachers was promised that if they follow this way, if they take this path, if they are willing to stand up to whatever the common rules of authority are, right? If you are willing to stand against that, then you can receive the way. You can win, right? But in order to win, there are certain steps that you have to take. Listen. There are certain steps you have to take. If you want to get what you want, you can't wait, right? If you feel stuck, if you don't move, you'll forever be stuck. If you want to get unstuck, you got to move. Just take a step. This King of Wands is like, cool, I could take a step. It's just a step, right? I want to win. So I will take a step to pursue whatever it is that I want to see. And we're talking about luck. Sooner or later, luck comes to everyone. And remember, the King of Wands can be impatient, can be impulsive, can be selfish and controlling. If you've been waiting and you feel like you've been waiting too long for something, you've been waiting to experience a certain kind of life and it's not coming, well, then you're like, God, all right, well, what do I have to do to go get it? And false teachers are like, hey, we know the way. Idolatry, right? Something inside of this King of Wands had to already have been living in order for these false teachers to have even appealed or manifested in their life in this way. Idolatry is when we have an extreme admiration, a love, a reverence for something or someone as if it were God, right? And so whatever it was that this King of Wands wanted, it was chasing it, longing after it as if it were God. So that tells us this wasn't God. Whatever the chase was, or whatever was propelling the chase, it was something outside of the Most High, which is only going to take you, further away from source. But the beautiful thing is that we are all moving towards source. But we have many paths, and all of our paths are essentially just detours, but they're all getting us to the same space. Free will allows you to take a detour. The Most High says, however you get to me, but I'm going to be here, right? I'm forever. And guess what? Your soul's eternal. So whether it takes you 10,000 lifetimes or 100,000 lifetimes, I'm going to still be here. And so are you. So we've got time. This King of Wands, being impatient, didn't recognize the truth of the Most High's way, right? And feeling like they didn't have time, feeling blocked, feeling like they were blindfolded, like life had taken away their vision, life had taken away their clarity, their understanding, right? They can't see their self, or they couldn't see a way. The King of Wands couldn't see their way outside of a situation. Their thoughts are conflicting. Well, if I go left, this happens. If I go right, this happens. That, you know, those situations where you're stuck because you think that you can't move until you have the answer. But the reality is that the answer is to just move, right? Move and it will come. You take a step towards it and it will take a step towards you. Well, this is the chase that the King of Wands is after, okay? To stop the confusion, to stop feeling like life is at a stalemate, and to stop feeling blocked. Okay. But remember, we've got idolatry here. And so more than anything in the world, this is what this King of Wands wants. Well, the false teachers say, hey, we can help you. We can help you shed. We can help you transform. We can help you become something else. Whoever you are right now, whatever life looks like right now, if this is not bringing you peace and satisfaction, well, you know, we're bringers of the light. We know that there's another path. We know that there's detour and there's another way. And so this was giving me the energy of like, as above, so below. You know, when we're talking about metamorphosis, we're talking about a complete change in nature. Sometimes that can be natural or it can be supernatural. But the idea of a metamorphosis is to reduce loss. It's to grow. It's to expand. It's to increase, right? It's to change, but it's to change for your own advancement, okay? And so a metamorphosis is what this King of Wands wanted personally, professionally, financially, right? In every aspect of their life, he wanted to look like something that they had never looked like before. But remember, idolatry. How bad did the King of Wands want it? What was the King of Wands willing to do to get it? Right? And so, here's the instruction. This is what the false teacher says, okay? The light bringers, this is what they say. They say, all right, we have a direction, or we have an order that you can follow, right? When we're talking about getting an instruction, the King of Wands was given an instruction, but this was an instruction based on the rules and laws of idolatry. This was a detour away from the Most High, right? But it gave you light though. When we're talking about Luciferians or Satanists, they are bringers of light. They do operate with truth, right? But their truth is temporary because they are not the source. And so when the Most High says, y'all are done, they're done, right? But when you follow the way of the Most High, it is eternal. It is endless. Your evolution is never ending. Your consciousness, y'all know. All right. So they say, all right, we're going to give you information, and we're going to tell you how something needs to be done and operated or assembled in order for you to achieve what it is you've never experienced in this life. We have the energy of a chariot. Now, when we think of a chariot, sometimes we think of movement, we think of travel or vehicles. But in this message, this King of Wands was given a chariot, but necessarily they couldn't operate it because he didn't have the keys. And so this chariot, the false teachers are like, listen, we'll give you the Benz. You can have the car, right? You have a great deal of potential, but without effort, you're never going to be able to make it the reality. So we're going to give you the Benz, but how are you going to get it going? Do you have the keys? Do you have the self-discipline? Do you have the focus? Can you overcome the obstacles? Can you persevere? Right? And so effort was still needed. But the light bringers essentially said, we can give you the chariot that you've always wanted to experience the life that you've never experienced. But there are certain qualities, there are certain ways of being, there is a direction and an order of things that you must follow to make this happen, right? If you follow our way, not only will you overcome obstacles, but you will reap the fruits of your labor. You'll become rich. Rich gain is here. When you go through this shedding, when you go through this metamorphosis, right? The adventure begins for you. Work becomes exciting. Maybe you'll move, maybe you'll travel, maybe you'll take trips, right? But whatever you do, it is always going to be a part of a steady climb where you're going to be able to reach your financial goals, right? And so here's the bends. Here's the information. Here's the knowledge. Are you willing to put the keys in the car and go? Now, as far as the King of Wands knew, he was ready. She was ready. They were ready, right? Because they wanted it as if it was God. They had a love for it, an extreme admiration for what they felt they were blocked out of. This is how the villain becomes the villain, right? All right, here is the divine pressure point. I personally believe that everybody in some type of false organization, and remember, when I say false, I mean because it takes you away from the Most High. It does not unite you with the Most High. So therefore, I would consider it to be false. Anybody that falls prey to a false teacher. For all of us not in a secret society or coven that feel that we have made it because we didn't join an organization. For us, our false teachers can be a vice, a thought, a belief, a pattern of behavior, or a habit. For instance, I struggled with depression or anxiety or sadness in my past. My false teacher was alcohol. Because I believed that when I consumed alcohol, I became joyous and funny and exciting, right? And it made me laugh. And so alcohol was a false teacher because it taught me that if I employed it, it would bring me. Now, there's only a certain amount of time that alcohol can provide me with that, right? The pleasure that it gave me, it was temporary. Because at the same time it was giving me pleasure, it was destroying my body. Now, if I had chosen the Most High as my teacher, as opposed to the alcohol that made me feel a certain way, the alcohol brought me light for a period of time, but it was false light, right? Those are like those details in those contracts that you sign in the coven that don't say you're going to be smiling, but you're also, if this doesn't go well, your organs are going to fail, right? Like the backfire is going to knock you out. Like that is that, right? And so if I would have chosen the Most High, or if I would have chosen a different path, then whatever, you get what I'm saying. So a false teacher can be a vice, it can be a drug, and you can hang out with your false teacher as long as you want. This is free will, right? Whatever you are picking up, if it's a thought, whatever you are picking up or using to make you feel good or to get you from point A to point B, you're allowed to do that. That is your free will. And at some point, we recognize that, this is actually a detour. This is not the way, right? You're still going to make it to the Most High, whether it's in this life or the next life, whether it's in 10 years or 50 years. Everybody makes it. Like this, we are all growing and evolving. It's impossible to stop evolution. We're all going there. So even if you're not in a coven, you may have a false teacher is what I'm saying. You may have something that is giving you light, but it's temporary. On the back end, it could be hurting you, right? It could be a relationship with somebody that is truly off limits, but they provide you with attention and luxury. And so, it's something you entertain. But the satisfaction it gives you is not really the source. It's not really, it's just an illusion. Y'all know what I'm saying. Okay. So I believe that anybody who signs up for a false teacher truly has a blocked heart chakra. And I say that because, The Most High moves through the heart, but when our heart is blocked, the Most High really doesn't have a place to call home. And so until we do certain amount of work and healing and purging and releasing, we are not making a space for the Most High to move into. But guess who can move in? The false teachers, right? Everything that makes us feel content and love and acceptance, right? Everything that gives us peace, but the peace is superficial, right? The compassion and the comfort is superficial for many different reasons. And so you will know, or this King of Wands, I feel, had a blocked heart chakra. In terms of signing up for covens and secret societies, this King of Wands was truly the victim. This King of Wands is a victim because I feel like they play, I feel like they appeal to your weaknesses and promise that they will turn them into strengths. And so if you are a person who, has been unable to give and receive freely in life, right? A blocked heart chakra is going to make it very hard for you to experience abundance and pleasure and love and just peace, right? And if you want peace and if you want abundance, but if your heart is hard, or if you just haven't done the proper work to just get it ready to live that type of life, then it will be blocked. And anything false is not going to require you to change your heart. You cannot meet the Most High with a blocked heart. And the path, the way that you have to walk in order to unblock your heart is sometimes it feels even more painful than the actual break that caused the wound, right? It's the unbreaking. It's the working backwards through all of those thoughts and emotions and so I feel like our wounds can be exploited by entities, by energies that have their own mission. And so if a Luciferian or the Satanists or whatever they call themselves, if they're moving against the Most High because they felt restricted and oppressed, their story aligns with your story. These are people with blocked heart chakras that didn't want to do the unblocking, that didn't want to do the uncrossing, that didn't want to unbind themselves, that didn't want to go through it. And I get it. Like, everybody is not built to go through it. Right? And this is where we get the idea of chosen. It really is a small few. It really is a small few that are willing to go through it. It takes a certain amount of strength in order to move through your pain and your hurt and your struggle. This King of Wands had power. This King of Wands had arrogance and confidence and ego. But this King of Wands didn't know that they possessed the gentleness. They didn't know that they had the patience, that they could be diplomatic. The King of Wands didn't know that they had a reserve of inner strength. The King of Wands truly didn't know how much power they had within, right? And the power that you have within, it requires a heart. It requires a heart that is unblocked, a heart that is not suspicious, a heart that is not fearful, a heart that does not hold grudges, right? A heart that is not overly critical of relationships and of people. You can't be thinking that everybody is an op, but then wanting to have a life of abundance. The Most High is going to move through vessels. And so you kind of got to have an open heart to allow vessels to come to you, to bless you, to bring you peace. And so everything that the King of Wands wanted may have come through the heart of another person, but the King of Wands didn't have the heart to receive it. But what the King of Wands had was intellect, rationale, logic, and intelligence, which meant that all of these false teachers and the idolatries, it made sense to go that route. Here comes the divine pressure point. The King of Wands was protected by a guardian angel. This is some type of higher power, that protects you from difficulties or misfortunes, and it stops you right before, like almost by the skin of your teeth. Like, right? Like you literally had a toe in the fire and appears the guardian angel. That is the divine pressure point. And so this King of Wands had a supernatural experience. Now, I don't know when this came in their process. I don't know where the supernatural experience happened on their detour, on the path that they took, But the guardian angel, the supernatural experience, reveals to this King of Wands that they must end or leave this position. They must terminate this agreement, right? They must change this career. They must change this whatever entirely. The way the supernatural experience happened to this King of Wands was by way of a dream. Dreams are attached to prophecies. A prophecy is any divinely inspired prediction that kind of tells you about what's to come, right? And so the divine pressure point for the King of Wands is they had a prophetic dream about what was to come in the event that they did not end the connection to this group, right? Or end the chase and the idolatry. And so the King of Wands has this dream, and when the King of Wands has a dream, it's revealed to them that they have to walk away. They have to walk away from something that they were loyal to. And when they walk away for a period of time, it will seem very dark. It will change, right? But they will be able to maneuver the changes, but the shifts that this King of Wands is going to have to go through when they separate from the false teachers is going to put them into a period of darkness where they will feel like they are literally hanging upside down, right? But they're cloaked in darkness. And the Most High says, listen, this will pass. But the misfortune that is coming to you and the disfortune, the difficulties that you will experience, it's because of who you've chosen to be loyal to. Listen, loyalty is a beautiful quality, right? Every friendship must value loyalty, but not everybody deserves your loyalty. And so it's when this King of Wands has this dream, a dream. Let's talk about dreams. To have a prophetic dream, you may get a series of thoughts, a series of images, sensations, right? And all of this happens in your mind during your sleep. And so the King of Wands had a prophetic dream that showed them images, sensations, and thoughts. All of those things put together said that they needed to walk away, listen to their inner voice, start a new journey, right? Nonetheless, if you do not abandon this path or this detour, the outcome for you will be devastating, right? And so the King of Wands had to essentially 8 of Cups, something that they were going to be loyal to. And because they were going to separate from that, the devastation that would come next could seem extreme, but it will pass. And so this is about the villain, the King of Wands. This could be you at a period in your life. This could be somebody that you were in a relationship with that you recognized had gone down a wrong path, but they had to take it. They had to take the path. I think the worst thing is not going down a path. The worst thing is not choosing. It's not moving. It's not taking any action, right? And we're not always going to choose the right way, but you're never going to find the right way unless you choose. And so that is the point here. It's not necessarily faulting people for believing that, that the way of the false teachers is the way. Like, I'm not mad that you chose that for a period of time. Like, the fact that you chose meant that you cared enough to chase, right? However, you wanted the Most High, but the way you got to the Most High or the path that you took there, it was just the wrong path to get there. Like, chasing and choosing is sexy. Like, I'm not mad at that, right? Listen, every version of me had to exist in order for me to be talking right now in the way that I am. And y'all, I've had some rough versions. Y'all are going to hear about them. Y'all have heard about some of them, right? But I needed every version of Tennille. Like, I needed every piece of her, whether she was wrong or right, whether I was chasing something wrongfully or chasing something righteously. I needed to just chase. And it is in the chase that you can pivot left or right. You can turn around, you can adjust, but you can't adjust something that you're not moving in. You can't adjust something that you are not actively engaging in. And so this King of Wands took steps to win, but the steps that he took to win were steps that were laid out by way of false teachers, right? And it was because this King of Wands had a blocked heart that they couldn't access the ways of the Most High, right? And so the supernatural experience reveals, you have a guardian angel that protects you. And you also have an inner power that will allow you to subdue things, right? But the way you need to, and so this is like a King of Wands thinking that they have to be forceful with life. I got to take this life by the horns. And the Most High is like, no, you got to be gentle and heal. Are you crazy? It's time for you to develop another aspect of yourself. It's time to sink into your heart. You got to open that thing up, clean it out. Yeah. So this is the King of Wands. False teachers are temporary. And again, if you didn't join a coven, a false teacher could be a thought that made, an illusion, a detour that you took that took you away from the Most High, but also took you to the Most High, right? Because everything leads you there. You cannot escape evolution. It can take you a long time. It can take you longer than those around, it can take you many lifetimes. But you can't escape evolution. Your soul came here to evolve. And however you evolve is how you evolve. You have the free will to do it. And so I'm not shaming, the person in this story. Because listen, I have been the King of Wands following many false teachers. It didn't look like a coven, a Luciferian, a Satanist, or an organization. But I've definitely had my fair share of false teachers. I love y'all. It's Thursday. I hope you have a beautiful day. Y'all, my favorite color is purple. So many purple hearts. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you for listening to me talk, for talking back to me, and for teaching me. And every talk, I learn something new because of how you pour into me and how you respond to me. And so you are helping me to understand my path. You are lighting it up for me along the way. You are absolutely lighting it up for me. I love you and I appreciate you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.